We had some pretty nice trades from the daily market breakdown videos. Now let's get right into this week's Forex Forecast. Starting this week's Forex Forecast off with the US dollar index. So just want to remind you guys, looking at the daily chart here, we have a beautiful daily uptrend. This is pretty much picture perfect in my opinion. It's not too tight. It's not too big and out of whack. It is very clean, a very clean channel in my opinion. Now, if you zoom in here, it's more evident on the lower time frames, but you can clearly see we did kind of hesitate here. But I just wanted to kind of zoom out for a lot of you day traders out there and just say, look, the trend is still up here on the daily chart. I think it's possible we even pull back down maybe to like the 105.4 area, 105.6 area, and still not be worried and still would expect the dollar to go up based on this daily trend. So just want to say, even though we've seen that sideways price action, I'm not really too worried about looking for dollar longs. And if you look at a weekly chart here, the next thing we would like to see, as you can see, I have this line out here that is marking this high. It's going to be significant in my opinion. Now, I would expect, if price continues up, we will break that high in my opinion. I don't think we'll just shoot right off to like the 110 area, which is where I'm expecting the dollar to go long term. I think we could maybe push up, hesitate, fake everyone out here that was short, drop down, and then continue up, some sort of fake out manipulative move. But I just want to point out that this is kind of the next step we are looking for here on the DXY, is looking for that weekly trend to the upside, and that'll be even stronger for the dollar, and that's going to be needed obviously if we want to push back up to the 110 area up at this weekly supply. And this will be for another discussion. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get all of these forecasts and see what happens when price gets up there, if it does. So just want to point out that's the next step here that we are looking at seeing as far as swing trading goes. Now on the 4-hour chart here, the sideways action we've been getting the last couple weeks is it's much more evident here. It's more clear than the daily chart, obviously. So there is a clean demand zone down at 105.39 on the 4-hour chart. I think it's possible we do retrace down to there and then get a nice move to the upside from there. That is what I'm looking for on the dollar. If not, we could. If we don't push down to there, the next thing I'd be looking at is something like this, where we remove this supply, which has been proven, which is always better in my opinion when the supply is worked out. We remove this supply like this, and any 4-hour demand zone there, we can then look for longs off of that, just like I said we could do down here. So really two options, either the pullback down to there and rally up, or the supply being removed like this, creating a new demand zone here on the DXY. So I'm pretty much going to be monitoring this 4-hour chart and obviously the daily chart. If we do push down to here, the daily trend will still be up, and it's not really a big concern. But that's why it's important to zoom out, guys. I know a lot of you guys, most of you guys are probably day traders. Let me know in the comments down below. But as a swing trader, position trader, I'm monitoring the higher time frames, and even if we get these big pullbacks and break lows and stuff like that, it's always not really a concern when you zoom out and see that the trend is up. So just pretty much looking to see this zone removed or a pullback down to the 105 area. And if we do break this low here and continue to go down and test this trend line, well, that'll be another discussion, and we have to accept that we were wrong and look at the analysis again from the higher time frame and see what is going on. On to the euro US dollar, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Just a reminder, all ad revenue from these weekly Forex forecast videos is donated to my local hospice. So every like helps, would appreciate it. And looking at the daily chart here of the euro, remember this proven demand was removed. This proven demand was proven once, twice, actually another time right there. So 3 times, 4 times, a very, very significant demand zone. So this supply that removed it at 1.06 on the daily chart is significant. However, I don't really love the small move away. Yes, we did get a move away. We stayed away. It's not amazing, but we have to pretty much go with what we have here. This supply worked out great. You can go back and watch forecasts from back in March there, and you can see we pointed out this supply zone as well. So the next supply zone we have is right here at 1.06. Now, I think looking for shorts in this area could be good. We couldn't quite push up to it. We almost did. I was really looking forward to it this past week, and we pretty much stopped out at 1.06, and we couldn't push up to the 1.069 area. So a little bit disappointing, but however, it doesn't mean we won't push back up to that supply zone. On the 1-hour chart, the sideways action is pretty evident here, where we have demand being respected and supply being respected. So if we do break this high here, that'll give us a 1 hour uptrend. And what that could do is kind of fake everyone out and say, oh, we have an uptrend now, especially the day traders. We have a 1 hour uptrend now in the euro. We gotta get it. We gotta get in long, right? But remember, zoom out. If we break that high there and we go back to the daily chart, we have that supply. And there is this little 4 hour supply zone that is inside of that daily zone at 1.0711 right there. So I think it's a great area to look for day trades in. Can kind of stop everyone out here as a potential trap area and then push to the downside there. So this is really the move I am looking at here on the euro. And if you do want to day trade long, it is a little bit risky, but the profit margin would be to 1.07. But again, it's a little risky. I would rather just wait for shorts and then we can be day trading in those areas. So that is what I'm looking for here on the euro. Just really looking forward to potentially getting that push up. And look, if we don't push up to that supply and we continue to go down, there'll be new supply zones being formed, and then we can continue to look for shorts. So back to the 1 hour chart again. Let's say we don't push up to that supply. I'm wrong. We don't push up. Let's say we push down. If we break this proven demand zone, look how much this demand zone was tested once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, guys. A very, very proven demand. So if we do push down, break that demand zone, any 1 hour supply there, we could also use for a short trade. That'll be for another video as well. So really two options here, looking to get the continuation move down or that pullback up to the 4 hour and daily supply there on the euro US dollar. All right, on to the forecast for gold, XAUUSD. Remember, on the weekly chart, beautiful weekly trend. Any deep pullback like this, I would not even be concerned. I actually am welcoming a very deep pullback to the 2219 or even 2041 area, as we have beautiful rally-based rally weekly demand zones, very, very strong moves away. So I'm really welcoming that pullback. I don't know if we're going to get it, but it's something that I really hope we can get. But just want to zoom out and show you guys this beautiful weekly trend. Even the daily trend is up as well. The issue with the daily chart, though, is the nearest demand zone isn't until all the way down at the 2195 area, maybe around here as well, but it's not looking great. It's kind of just chugging along here on the daily chart, which isn't great. So, you know, I'm not really looking at the daily chart. However, we are looking at the daily trend. Now, if we go to the 4 hour chart, you can clearly see the sideways action that's taking place. It's not super sideways, but we haven't really broken a high yet. The issue I'm seeing with this time frame is that their nearest fresh zone is all the way down at 2296. So this is really the nearest area I'd be looking for longs at. But let's say we don't push down to there and we just rally up, break this high again, any demand zone here, we can then look for longs down there. So this is option 1, in my opinion. With new high, new zone formed on the 4 hour chart, or the nearest pullback zone, which is all the way down at the 2296 area. You can see my alert is set there as well. Because I don't like trading at tested zones. This was a beautiful rally-based rally. Unfortunately, Wick stopped everyone out, probably some news or something like that. But you know, if you really, really want, if price pushes down to this area again at the 2349, you could look for confirmation day trades in there. But remember, guys, it's very tested. It's not an area I feel comfortable trading at. I prefer fresh zones like the one down at 2296. And we are currently being held up by this 1 hour supply zone. This is a supply zone that I pointed out in the daily market breakdown video for the Diamond members. And if you guys want access to those daily market breakdown videos, video lessons, Sunday Zoom sessions where we learn and discuss strategy, check out the Diamond membership. Links are in the description down below. We caught a nice trade off of Bitcoin and the S&P 500 this week, as well, as you can see on the screen. So we'd be happy to see all serious traders join the team and start to get my analysis throughout the week. So this 1 hour supply zone's holding so far. We haven't got a huge move off of it, but you know, it's being respected. So we could continue to see downward pressure here. It's more clear though on the 1 hour chart here to see what we need to be removed. So if we can remove this proven supply, any 1 hour demand zone there, we could look for longs off of that. If not, there's really not much stopping price here. So it's pretty much more clear on the 1 hour chart here. I'm really not 100% sure what's going on. But I'm really looking forward to that pullback down to like the 2296 area, like I was pointing out there on the 4 hour chart here on gold. On to the forecast for the USDJPY. You can see my 4 chart layout here where we have the weekly, daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour. And the one thing I noticed right away, and I'm sure all you guys are noticing as well, you can see my arrow marks here. All 4 time frames are trending up. We have a beautiful weekly trend, beautiful daily trend, Very decent 4-hour trend. The 1-hour trend is kind of going sideways at this point. You might even be able to call this a sideways market, but just want to point that out, right? We are forming a new weekly demand zone here as well. You can see this beautiful rally base rally. We are still, I would still like to see a candle close up here and then we could draw it, but you know, it's all signs are really pointing to the upside here. Even if we get those deep pullbacks to like the 149 area. Beautiful weekly trend, beautiful daily trend. You can see we almost contacted this daily demand at 153.53. If we do push down to this area again, I still think it's a good area to look for longs in as well. Even though we barely pushed into it, we almost pushed into it, I still think it's a solid area to look for longs in. So you know what this means is it's longs all the way. We had this 1-hour zone respected not only once but twice, 3 times with wicks. Finally we kind of broke through it here, but you know, in my opinion, it is still being respected. However, look at this kind of sideways action here. That's like the overall trend is up, but this price action here is sideways. So we really just want to kind of map out the high here, which would be right here. And if we break that high like this, any new 1-hour zone there, we could then look for longs in. This is why I do my analysis and daily market breakdown videos throughout the week, so you guys can get this analysis throughout the week, because I only do one of these forecasts per week on YouTube. So that is what we are looking for here on the USD. And as far as the 1-hour chart goes, if we do not push down to that zone, or sorry, if we do not push up and break that high, that's okay, because we could still be looking for longs on day trading timeframes. I don't like to trade in sideways markets, but if you do trade the 15-minute or the 5-minute timeframes, since the 4-hour trend is up, and as long as this trend line is holding here, you could be looking for longs on these timeframes, in my opinion. And if we do push down to the 153.46 area, it's a nice little rally-based rally zone. Not the best zone I've ever seen. I'll be honest with you guys, it's not incredible. Out of the zone, I maybe give it like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, but it is a nice rally-based rally. So it could be an area where you look for longs on day trading timeframes. You could look for confirmation trades on, like I said, the 15-minute or the 5-minute chart. And that's really it. And what I like about this zone here as well is it's embedded inside of that overall daily zone, which makes it a little bit better in my opinion. So really all signs are pointing to the upside on all, basically any time frame you're trading, longs are going to be good, even if we do get the pullback down to the 153 area. And you know, as we zoom out again, even if we get a pullback, looking at the weekly chart, all the way down to the 149 area, who cares? It's a beautiful drop-based rally demand zone that broke the high and broke supply. So I would even really like a pullback down to there as well. I would not even be worried, and I'd still be looking for longs. So it's longs all the way here on the USDJPY based on all of the trends. No need to confuse you guys any more than that. All right, on to the British pound, the GBPUSD. Let me know your thoughts on the GBPUSD in the comments down below, and I will give you my thoughts right now. We do not have a daily downtrend. If you look at the euro, some of the other pairs, we have a pretty nice downtrend where we have a trend line. There's no trend line here in my opinion. Yes, the momentum is down. I will not deny that. I'm pretty sure nobody in the world would say that the momentum is up here. The momentum is clearly down. If you do get a pullback up to the 1.26 area to this daily supply, there's even a supply above. I think these are great areas to look for potential swing trading shorts and day trading shorts. So just wanted to point that out as far as the higher time frames go. You know, I do prefer trading the euro right now, in my opinion, even gold compared to shorting the pound, just based on the trends. However, I don't mind what I'm looking at on the 4-hour chart. We have a beautiful 4-hour downtrend here. A lot of sideways action took place right here, but if you look above that sideways action, we have a little 4-hour supply zone right here at 1.25. It's similar to the euro US dollar supply zone on the 4-hour chart as well. So it could be a good area if we do get a deep, sorry, not a deep pullback, but short pullback, I guess you could say, a move up to supply. I think it's a great area to look for shorts at the 1.2537 area on the 4-hour chart. And obviously, since we have a 4-hour downtrend and even a 1-hour downtrend, looking for shorts on the day trading timeframes is also going to be fine. We have a 1-hour supply at the 1.244 area. You could look for shorts in there. But as long as this downward trend line is holding on the 1-hour chart, you know, even if we start to fill in this gap here, I think looking for shorts on the 5-minute chart, the 50-minute chart is going to be fine as well. So I don't personally day trade. However, I know a lot of you guys probably are day trading. So like I said, as long as this downward trend line is holding, I think looking for shorts on all time frames is going to be decent, especially on the 5-minute, 50-minute, even the 1-minute chart. I don't really recommend the 1-minute chart, but I think on the 50-minute, 5-minute chart, as long as the trend line's holding, it should be good for trading short. And if we are wrong, maybe you take a couple losses, that's fine. We have a beautiful 4-hour supply above. We can maybe get a better price and an even bigger reward as we look to continue to trade short here on the GBPUSD. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on the pound down below. All right, on to the USDCAD. On the daily chart here, we are reacting off of supply at 1.38. I kind of expected a small move. I've definitely got more of a bigger move down than I did expect. I will admit that. And the reason is because, yes, it was fresh back here, but it was tested right away. So I'm a little surprised to see that move off of the supply so good. But just wanted to point that out on this time frame here that we are reacting off of that daily supply. Now, on the 4-hour chart, we are currently going sideways. We have a demand zone that was removed right here and a 4-hour supply that was respected. So if we do push up to the supply, yeah, you could look for shorts off of that, but it's tested, so it's not great. So extra day trading confirmation is definitely going to be needed. If you're bullish the dollar, which you know I am, we want to basically at this point see both of these supply zones removed, and then any 4-hour demand zone there, we could then look for a pullback to get in long. That is really the only option I'm seeing here. And what makes this kind of confusing is because we have a pretty decent looking 1-hour downward trend line at this point. So I will say, as long it's kind of risky due to the DXY trend up on the daily chart. Looking back at that DXY, if you didn't watch that, make sure to go back and watch it. But you know, as long as this 1-hour trend line is holding, yeah, we could fill in the gap a little bit, but looking for 5-minute, 15-minute, actually I'd probably stick to 5-minute only here, guys, because we don't have an H4 downtrend. So 5-minute shorts could be good as long as this trend line is holding. But remember, it's a little bit risky due to that daily chart on the DXY. So really just want to be looking at this 1-hour chart at this point, in my opinion. Like I said, we could be day trading short the 5-minute chart to continue to look for that move down with profit margin down to like the 1.3725 area. And look, if we break up, maybe you take a loss, we break up to the upside, break the downward trend line, any 1-hour demand zone there, maybe you could look for a long off of that 1-hour demand zone, just based on the fact that the daily trend is up on the DXY, and it's most likely the dollar goes up. But you know, just because the daily trend is up on the DXY doesn't mean we will not get these little 1-hour downtrends on some of the pairs on the US dollar. So it could be a time to counter trend trade here. But remember, we want to stick to the lower time frames, guys. Just because we have a 1-hour downtrend definitely does not mean we want to just be overall shorting a 1-hour supply zone. We want to be sticking to the appropriate time frames, which would be the 5-minute and the 1-minute charts. So that's pretty much it there on the USDCAD. Any questions, guys, do not hesitate to ask. I know I could be maybe a little bit confusing sometimes, so do not hesitate to leave a comment with any questions if I wasn't clear on the analysis. All right, on to the AUDUSD. So looking at this daily chart, remember we did break the low here, which gave us that beautiful daily downtrend. So go back and look at the pound and compare the two. Yes, the momentum on the GBPUSD was down, but here we have a beautiful daily downtrend. This is pretty much picture perfect in my opinion. So really all signs are pointing to the downside here on the AUDUSD. Now it's more evident here. Well, it's not, I wouldn't say it's more evident, but if you look at the 1-hour chart, you can clearly see we are struggling, and it's a lot of indecision is going on. We had a supply zone, it was removed. That gave us this demand zone on the 1-hour chart at 0.60. However, the 1-hour downtrend is still holding, in my opinion. And why? Well, because this trend line is still holding. So unless, you know, if you want to jump the gun, you think it's a good time to counter trend trade, I'm not a huge fan of it, but there is a 1-hour demand zone here. We could maybe get a small move off of this zone if you do think we are going to push up, but it's definitely very, very risky in my opinion. I always view trades with the trend as less risky and trades against the trend as more risky. It's a pretty simple way to look at trading, in my opinion. I think it's worked out very well for me in my trading career. So again, the pullback down here could be decent. It's risky, but it could be rewarding as well, as we could potentially break this trend line as we are testing it here. Now, if you want to continue to trade with the daily downtrend, which is what I would probably recommend in my opinion, we really just want to see this 1-hour demand zone removed. So let's say we get something like this. We don't break the low here, but we get this demand zone removed. Any 1-hour supply zone there, we can then look for shorts off of that. Ideally, we get something like this where maybe we react off the demand zone a little bit, push down, break the low, break the demand zone, and then maybe get a 1-hour supply zone here, and then we can look for shorts off of that. So obviously, yes, breaking the low and the demand zone would be preferred, but we don't want to be greedy here. We want to, at least, because look, this demand zone was created for a reason, because it broke supply. So obviously it's a key demand zone in my opinion, and if it's removed, that's a significant sign in my opinion, because obviously we won't be able to push down unless we can break this demand zone. And if we are going to break the trend line, it's probably going to be with this demand zone in my opinion. So this is pretty much the key zone in my opinion, at the 0.640 area on the 1 hour chart on the Aussie. So to kind of summarize again, at minimum for shorts, we need to see this demand zone removed. And at that point, you don't even have to really wait for a pullback. We could just look for shorts to continue to trade with this overall 1 hour downtrend. So that is what I'm looking at here on the Aussie. And if we do end up breaking the downward trend line in the 1 hour chart, that's fine, because we do have the 4 hour supply above at the 0.646 area, 0.6476 to be exact, where we could definitely see a move off of that 4 hour supply as it removed a proven demand zone. So yes, even if we do break that trend line to the upside, I think the move up will be short-lived as we have that supply above. So if you are trading counter trend, your profit margin is pretty much to this 4 hour supply, like I said, at the 0.647 area on the 4 hour chart here on the AUDUSD. Alrighty, on to the USDCHF, the Swiss franc. You can see we had a very manipulative move. It was a very big spike right into the daily demand zone, so that we've seen a move off of multiple times. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so, guys. This is the power of supply and demand. Once you trade it for a bit, you realize how powerful this strategy is. I'm not saying that it's the only profitable strategy at all. A lot of the times, your emotions and the psychology is what prohibits your ability to make a profit, but I just want to point out the power of these zones here. So trends are still to the upside on the USD Swiss. Even if we do get a large pullback down to the 0.89 area around there, we have a nice little weekly demand zone that we can maybe look for longs down and on there. But that's obviously for maybe in a couple months. I just wanted to point out that there is some demand down below. Now on the 4 hour chart, unfortunately, we had this pretty much picture perfect demand zone here at the 0.90 area. It broke a supply zone. Beautiful move away here, and obviously we wicked below this. Sometimes this happens, guys. Doesn't matter how good a demand zone is, just like this one, the move away was beautiful. Sometimes we just wick through and stops everyone out, and there's nothing you could do about it. But if we do push down to the 0.90 area again, I still think it's a good area to look for longs in my opinion, especially on day trading timeframes. If we don't push up to that demand zone and we break up here, break this supply, hopefully break the high as well, any 4 hour demand zone there, we can do what we want to do down there and look for longs off of that zone. Now we do have a high of price here at the 0.915 area, so obviously we would prefer to see both removed. But if we don't get that and maybe we just break this supply, respect this high, any 4 hour demand zone there could still be good for longs. But obviously the best thing would be to get both of those removed, the high and the supply, which would be a little bit more higher odds. Now if you were bearish for whatever reason and you think we're going to go down and you want to trade that counter trend setup, the supply zone would pretty much be the only option at 0.91. It's not amazing, but it is that move down. So if you want, you could be, I would really only recommend looking for confirmation on a 5-minute or a 15-minute chart to the downside, and profit margin would be short down to the 0.90 area. So if you want to trade in short, this would be your supply zone, and profit margin would only really be down to this 4 hour demand zone, because I think we could react off of that. So I know a lot of you guys say, oh, just tell me where to buy or if I should short. And I like to point out, both sides. If I am bullish on the USD Swiss, if I want to get in long, it's going to be down here. If you want to get in short, if you're bearish, I'm pointing out the best area, which would be the highest odds, which is still lower odds than the long, but this would be the highest odds area to short. So I like to point out both sides, and hopefully you guys are appreciative of that. All right, last but not least, we are on to crude oil. So I pointed out this weekly supply last week at the 87.25 area. I was saying for longs, this was our profit margin, and we pretty much hit that right there. Now we did get more of a bigger move down than I did expect, but you can see we have a little rally-based rally here, and I think we could start to see price continue up again and push back into the supply. You can see how much this area has been tested. I kind of am doubtful that we're going to push all the way down to here again, but clearly we are seeing some weakness. But just a reminder, look at the daily trend. The daily trend is up here. We are coming into some sort of buying area here. As you can see, we did get a nice move to the upside there, but it was quickly ended. So I think this could be the bottoming out here of oil. If you think we're going to continue to go down on this 1 hour chart here, we have a 1 hour supply at the 83,912 area. This would really be your area for shorts. I'm not really loving this area in my opinion though, but it is the best area in my opinion to look for shorts off of. What I would be looking at personally, due to the fact that we want to be getting in long based on the daily trend, what I would be looking at is this supply zone here. You can see we wicked above it, unfortunately, but in my opinion, it's still being respected. So if we can push up, break this supply at 85.56, any 4 hour demand zone there, we can then look for longs off of that. So that's really what I would be doing. This was a key demand zone that was pretty much removed with no struggle, which left us with this supply. So now we want to see that removed to continue to trade with that overall momentum on the daily chart. So a little bit of a confusing time here in oil, especially with these big wicks and stuff, but we pretty much have to go with this, the fact that this daily trend is up and the fact that this weekly supply is not fresh and it's very tested, and it's definitely weaker than it was the first time it was tested. So I am expecting oil to go up. We just need to see proof of that first by removing the 4 hour supply zone there on crude oil. If you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.